Live here.
Live!
But we don't have to necessarily know what that means.
What's the someday of Black?
I don't
There's
know
a
that we
reason
want to-
this story happens now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the movie writes itself.
Ooh.
Well,
I'm still streaming. How do I stop streaming? No! Oh, good afternoon.
good afternoon.
You caught me in the midst of admiring my model collection.
Oh, well, Camp Crystal Jake. I don't know what that means.
It's the lake
Jake.
from Friday the 13th.
Oh, the lake.
But it's a play on words because lake rhymes with Jake. Do I have to explain everything to you?
Brilliant. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Ben
Hello.
Lustig.
And I am
Camp Crystal
Jake Thornton. Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome to Ben and Jake Write a Movie, where we
Yes.
are writing our next spec live.
Well, one of them anyway.
Yeah, one of them anyway. I'll tell you, this is one of those days where I feel like my brain has been in like 5 different stories already
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
It's like 10 after 3 on the West Coast. And I'm like, wait, we started off talking about that and that and that
Yeah.
and that. Oh my gosh, I don't know where we are.
I know. It's so true. As you kind of get to the middle of the day and you're like, wow, we've spent all this time in all these different worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I think about being a screenwriter that I didn't really think about prior to breaking in was juggling
yeah.
different projects. Because, you know, when you're trying to break in, you're working. I mean, we were both working 2 or 3 support jobs at a time.
Yeah.
We barely had time to write one script, let alone try and do 3 or 4 projects at once. And then all of a sudden you break in and it's like, oh, you mean the only way I'm actually going to make money is if I have like 10 things going on at the same time?
Well, it's that thing, isn't it? Is when you're working your support jobs, you go, if your script doesn't sell, you'll still have your support job.
Yeah, true.
And when you're just a professional screenwriter, if that one script doesn't sell, that's the only thing you've got. It's like, you don't eat.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, look, this has been a wonderful experience, but, you know, to all of our viewers out there, like, this is one of the projects we're doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Because you have to. There's just no other way, you know.
We came up with a killer idea
the
the other day, didn't we? Just a
We're not gonna
killer
share
idea. No, we're not going to share it.
We're not going to share it.
No, that's just for us at the moment.
Still too early.
No, it's super too early. Yeah, we can't. Yeah, no, absolutely. But it was just interesting to be like, and I think what was interesting about that project, and we've experienced this before, we've absolutely had this before, is through the developing of one project, trying to come up with a solution, you come across a really great idea that's not that project at all, but there is an entirely great other story, other movie, other thing. It's happened several times.
Yeah, really.
And we've had great success with that, or it's just been that new thing that we've written, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, you know, we're this spec is truly as we say, it's like this is our next spec.
It is.
We've got development all over the place, and today was one of those development days, and my head feels fried. And one of the other things that you have to do as a screenwriter is just show up, whether you feel like it or not.
Well, what did I tweet? I tweeted something today. I was reading in my book this morning. A professional is someone who does his best work even when he doesn't feel like it.
This is true.
And that's
It's true. And it's not that I don't feel like it. I just don't know that I'm.
You just don't look like it.
Perfect. Shut up. This is what I deal with. Anyway, we are back. We are back. It has been a few days. So thank you for bearing with us not being here yesterday, but we're back today, Tuesday, October 4th. And
we won't be here tomorrow, though, will we?
No, tomorrow is another Jewish holy day, Yom Kippur. So we will not be here tomorrow, but we'll pick it back up on Thursday. So maybe we'll do a little extra long session today. We'll see how it goes. If my brain doesn't explode.
Exactly. Come out of your ear.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like
like the little thing in Star Trek.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not a great partnership.
Right.
It's like the brain slug and the Wrath of Khan.
Exactly. So, why don't you give us a little recap for those of us? It is episode 15.
I know,
which is awesome. And I think now that we are in episode 15, I think from a recap standpoint, this is my thoughts.
Yes.
Is from episode 13 prior was really all of us of our story stage. And if you're interested in watching us crack the story and crack the characters at a macro view, listen to you can listen on Apple Podcasts, you can watch here on YouTube, or even
you could listen on YouTube. You can just close your eyes.
You can listen on YouTube. But yeah, anything from episode 1 to episode 13 really dealt with that. We are now into a new stage of the script building process.
We are.
And from starting with episode 14 last week, we began this stage. So Jake, give us a little recap of what happened last week.
Oh, it's a blur, isn't it? Well, last week, I think at the beginning of last week, we had a big seismic shift whereby we felt that there were parallels to existing movies out there, that existing movie being Constantine. Yeah. So we wanted to reassess where our story is at. And we had decided essentially to add another character into the mix to jigger things up a little bit. From that point, we've essentially now begun outlining our movie. If you're not familiar with the concept of what we're doing, we are doing essentially, it's interestingly become even more Terminator 2, but with a demon and a demon hunter teaming up to save the life of the Antichrist.
Right. Yes.
So that is where we are up to right now. And we are literally, we have a script document going at the moment whereby we are outlining. So we tend to outline in our script documents so that we can and again, the way we outline is we will, as you will see on the previous episodes, we write scene headings, we write action, we may even write sections of dialogue as well, if necessary. The reason we do that in Fade In or any screenwriting software is so that we can literally copy and paste that into then the script and then build it out from there as the bare bones that we then, the skeleton, if you will, that we build off of.
If you were a solo writer, you could literally just write the script inside your outline at that point.
Totally.
You wouldn't even need to copy and paste. You could just start putting in dialogue.
Absolutely.
It's a really great way that it took us a very long time, years and years of experimentation, bullet point outlines, prose outlines, all the others, and
then when we realized that we were just copying and pasting that into
we were like
screenwriting software, like why don't we just write it in that software to start with? So exactly. So shall we do a little read through to see where we're up to on that document? Because I to quote Gandalf, I have no memory of this place. So while you're opening that up and sharing your screen, I will just remind everybody you can follow us on Twitter. I am at Jake Thornton, THORNTON. And Ben is at Ben_Lustig. You can find us on Facebook on Lustig Thornton. And there you go. That's where we're at. If you like this channel, please do subscribe. It helps with our visibility and helps us get out there. 100 and something.
We're doing great. Guys, just so you know, we are almost at 200 hours of view time.
Wow, that's amazing.
200 hours.
That's
just YouTube. That doesn't even include people who've watched it on Facebook or on Twitter or on Twitch. So I think it's great. I mean,
I'm very happy with that.
Most of those are probably like 5-minute views, but they add up to 2 hours.
Sure do. 200 hours of stuff. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, do like and subscribe to our videos. Again, just to help. It helps everybody. It helps you. It helps us.
Visibility is important. We're trying to get this out there to let as many people as we can join in the fun. Join in the fun. Let's start reading through what we did last time.
And so this was basically kind of prologue.
Yes, it is. It really is. We're back in time. We're in 1925.
Indeed. But this is important to the establishing of our Charlize character, of which we still don't have a name. So we're going to start.
We were both supposed to come with names again.
I know every time we do that, we forget. It goes in one ear, out the other. Just no idea. She's gonna be the script's gonna go out. It's gonna be like, she's called Charlize. Okay, and Zod.
Charlize and Zod. We do need to come up with these names. The great thing about this process is that we're just in the outline phase. We're not scripting, so it's okay if we don't have the name. It's more about who they are than what their name is.
Totally. You don't even know what their name is, Ben. You don't even know their names. How can you write the script? You don't even know what their name is.
Oh, these screenwriters who wrote The Princess that didn't even give her a name. Those idiots. They don't even know their character.
They don't even know their character's name. We begin in exterior Chicago day establishing. We do a super Chicago 1925, a description of 1920 Chicago. From that, we drop down into a car. We go interior, exterior sedan day. Zod, driving the Chicago streets, reading the wrong part. Inside the car are 4 what look like mobsters. 2 are men, but interestingly, 2 are women. We focus on Charlize, who we imagine here is in her 30s. She seems the odd man out, but only if you're paying real attention. Zod is driving, looks in the rear view, and catches a glimpse of her face. They pull up into the newly finished Tribune Tower, which we learned had just been built in 1920-something.
Yes.
Outside, Zod and the crew approach the front doors. They carry bags with them. They're stopped by a security guard. And one of the women, who we are just saying here for amongst ourselves, is a demon. We're going to know that. We're not going to know this point, but for the ease of us, document here. Whispers into his ear. He breaks down crying, and they push past him with ease. What did she say? We'll never know.
Right.
Then we go inside Tribune Tower lobby day. The gang pass a group of school children who are being given a tour of the skyscraper. Charlize has a moment of concern, but tries to bury it. Zod, though, catches it, asks her if she's okay. She brushes it off, and they continue down the stairwell and slip inside. And then Ben, very cleverly, wrote some notes. You won't be able to see these notes because you can only share one window at a time. But what do the notes say when you click on it, Ben?
The note is, they have dynamite. Charlize is going to sabotage the explosion, and Zod knows it was her. They get into a fight. She runs. Cut to 100 years later.
Cool, great, fantastic. So we're going to keep doing that then. So at this moment, I do think we cut to interior Tribune Tower basement day, or continuous, however we want to do it.
It wouldn't be continuous because
it'll be later. There will be
into the continuous, are we? So, but it doesn't actually need, unless there's windows in here. It doesn't actually require.
Sure, fine. So they are setting up sticks of dynamite to blow by the gas lines.
Yeah. So it would be 2 demon, 2 of our demon gang are placing the dynamite.
Yeah.
Or do we have a moment actually where they open the bags and we see so far we haven't seen the dynamite yet. So should we see it here or do we see it back in the car?
I don't think we should see it in the car. I think we should see it here. Yeah. Okay. So is it they enter and they just open the bags inside dynamite? Cut to later. They've set it all up.
How about 2 of our demons? So Zod and Charlize keep watch as the other 2 demons open the bags, revealing dynamite, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Do we have a moment where, do we get a moment of action where, the janitor comes in? Hey, you guys can't be in here.
Yeah. As our other 2 demons.
That was my best acting of the janitor being killed.
Place the dynamite. And again, we don't have to write this perfectly because this is an outline.
Yeah.
We're going to place the dynamite and, we reveal it for the first time. And then we were going to have a moment of Charlize saying something like, did you see the kids up there?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But I wonder, we have this beat up here. Charlize has a moment of concern, but tries to bury it. I actually think without dialogue, it might work better.
I think you're probably right. Yeah. And again, I think that's one of those things. If you can do something without saying it, you get it. You get it. And here's the thing. You wouldn't get it in that moment when they're being led around. You just be like, what does this mean? But you get it. You go, oh, that's why she looked worried about this, because she's going to blow up the building.
Yeah, a security
or a janitor.
Janitor's nice. A janitor approaches. Janitor approaches and confronts them.
And the other
question for you, but it might be just like a really simple answer.
Yeah.
And sometimes the answer is because if Demon Girl was able to get rid of a guy just by whispering in his ear, why do they have to kill the janitor? Why can't they just whisper in his ear and say "go away" and then he just goes away?
I think the answer is because in this particular
right.
I think it would be cool to see them do something violent.
Okay. I mean, we're gonna see them fight each other, but just something like truly evil. So he's like nice. He should be like a nice. He's like a nice janitor. He's like talking.
He's a nice guy. Like you know, he's got a white mustache.
Hey, how you doing down here? Oh, you guys, I like your suits. You know.
Yeah. But again, he's not going to be like you. You should all definitely be down here. Like he goes in there and says, "Are you guys lost?" Janitor. You know, like
I don't think he's questioning as to why they're here. He's just a fucking janitor. But the fact is, he sees them, and he can tell. I mean, I think that's enough for like he's not a security guard. Is my point. He's not going, hey, what are you guys doing down here?
I mean, why isn't he? This is his, you know, there's a group of people down in the boiler room who are.
I guess if we're in the boiler room, sure. I don't really know where we are. It's a good question. We said basement. What does that look like? What is that?
Yeah,
are we
in my mind, it was where all the so like it's not just going to be blowing up like it's by the gas lines.
Well, then let's do it in the actual boiler room.
Right.
You know, let's understand more where we are. Then we actually like have a visual.
Yeah.
And it should be, you know, pipes and gas.
Yeah.
Gas lines.
Yeah.
You know, steam venting, basically. So he's not. So then a janitor notices them, and he does say, "Hey, what are you guys doing in here?"
Yeah, and clack, snap of neck, whatever it is.
You know, actually, that's an interesting moment. So, you know, snap, Zod kills him.
Yeah, right? Or other dude kills him. Yeah, either one.
Well, right now we have the other dude down placing the dynamite.
Gotcha.
Well, logistically speaking, Zod and Charlize are keeping watch. But if Zod kills him, Charlize can go, was that really necessary?
Yeah, and it's like what does it matter? They're all going to be dead soon anyway.
Exactly. There you go. So, like, again, what we'll do sometimes here and now, this is not final dialogue, but just so that we have it, was that really necessary? God. It's like terrible fucking. I mean, this is awful. I can't believe we're doing this live. God.
They're all going to be dead soon anyway. Yeah.
They're all going to die in a few minutes anyway.
Yeah.
Now, here's my question for you, sir.
Yeah. I know, and I know what it is.
How does she try and sabotage this?
Yep. How does she? Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if she outright, straight up stops them, well, not very smart. Doesn't make her very smart, right? And it doesn't make her. Now, it's a last-minute ditch effort. She knows there's a bunch of kids and innocent people here, and for whatever reason, her moral compass has started to really swing to the good side.
Yes.
But
are they about to set the timer? Yeah, I mean, yes, and is it sabotage, or am I trying to is it?
I mean, is she literally taking them on? Because if she takes them on, she's done. There's no going back from that, right? If she tries to secretly sabotage it, like they're all leaving, and she says, "Oh shit, I just forgot."
Yeah,
something.
that's where my mind was going to go. She goes, "Hang on, I lost my watch, whatever it is," and she goes back down.
Comes back,
and then Zod comes back. What you doing, Charlize?
Ooh, boiler room fight.
What, did somebody say boiler room fight?
Somebody say boiler. That's a fucking great location for a fight, guys. Boiler room fights.
And then we can see. I mean, that would be so cool. Like he throws her, she flies through fucking pipes that would just, normally a regular human being would fucking crumple. But she
Right.
fucking flies through those pipes. The pipes are bursting. There's gas, smoke, water, you know.
So, okay. So we've got a bit of dialogue. So
Yeah.
they finish up
Yep.
and set a timer,
Yep.
then leave. Now, in the stairwell, interior stairwell, this would probably be like moments later.
Yeah.
Charlize is in the rear. And she's going to say something like, shit, I forgot my watch.
Something, it's got to be. And here's the thing. Should we do something like, oh, this could be cool. They finish up and set a timer. During this, she does it intentionally. We see her slip off her ring.
Let's think of a better one.
Yeah, no, yeah, something, like something around her neck, whatever, or, a pair of something. What is it going to be?
I like it that she drops it on purpose.
She does it on purpose, and we go, what's she doing? Again, it's asking all these questions like intrigue.
Let's just, such minutiae details, but details matter. Details matter.
Yep.
These guys are demons. They're here in human form.
Yeah.
They don't live here on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's like, watch my grandma gave me.
Yeah. She's not going back to her apartment. What is it that she would, quote unquote, forget that would be important?
That would be important
for her, either right now in this scene, or as a demon, or as evidence that could be left behind, or as, what is it
that Zod could potentially think is, that's odd.
Odd Zod.
Yeah, it's got to be something. Or does she
do they bring things? Look, it's such a weird lore question, but it's like when a demon comes to the surface from the other side, wherever the other side may be.
Yeah.
What do they bring with them? Do they show up in human form and clothed? And when they go back, are they in human form and clothed? I don't think so. They clearly have demon forms. And yet, at the same time, I kind of go, what is life?
Again, no one's asking the question.
No one is.
And here's the thing.
Relationship.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where you go, at the moment, neither of them know that we, the audience, don't know exactly what they are.
Nope.
But on the rewatch and after the fact,
yes,
are you going to go, why does she have a fucking watch?
Why did she
have a watch in that opening scene?
And it's like, we had talked about, it's not necessary, but we can decide right now about Zod and Charlize having potentially a romantic relationship. Is it like, shit, I forgot, the ring you gave me, but then you go like, why does demon give a shit about a ring?
Rings?
But then I go, why do humans give shit about a ring? They're still sentient beings.
Sure.
They could care about anything we want them to care about. Why does anybody care about anything? Because it has meaning to them. So,
totally.
It's a fucking ring made out of obsidian, and it's the ring that, could be.
Fine.
So up here, before they leave, Charlize, discreetly slips off
an obsidian ring she has on her finger.
We'll leave. Then, Charlize, shit.
I forgot my ring. My ring. Yeah.
Basically, just Zod is like, what the fuck? He says she has to go back.
Yes, has to go back.
Go back for it.
Yes. Interior, boiler room.
And he says, make it quick.
Yeah.
Make it quick. the bomb's going to go off. Basically.
Yeah, and we've seen the timer on it.
Yeah, and this may not be a ton of dialogue. This may only be 2 lines, but
yes,
this
exactly right. Yeah.
The point of an outline scene is to understand what the scene is about, not necessarily what the scene will look like on paper. Because ultimately, if you understand what the scene is about, then your goal is to actually condense it into as few words as possible.
And some people in their outlines go into great depth and detail in terms of what the tension is in each moment, in each scene. What's the certain screenwriting books are like you have to give that in every scene. I don't think we do that in every scene, but in terms of the way we outline, but I do think we inherently in this moment understand the tension that exists.
Right.
Right. Charlize is trying to scupper the plan of blowing up this building, and she's trying to hide that from her quote unquote boss.
Yeah. And what is her plan? She's going to go down there. She's going to get the ring. And when she comes back up, she's going to be like, you had no idea there were, 100 guys down there and I couldn't stop them and the bombs aren't going to go off. And
she just disconnects it and leaves.
And
then
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
In her mind, she's like, I'll just go down there. And it's risky.
Yes.
It's risky.
Yeah.
But she doesn't think they suspect her. Why would they? Demons.
Until Zod turns up, and then that tension becomes a physical fight.
Correct. So the bomb is going off any second.
Yes. Well, not any second, but if you've got 5, we're only have 5.
Any minute. Again, this is not about the words; it's about the sentiment.
Yeah.
So the Charlize runs back.
Yeah.
So then we're going back in to the boiler room.
Yeah.
Moments later,
she grabs the ring and disconnects the
fuse line to the timer.
Yes,
Yeah.
The detonator or whatever.
I mean, I don't know. Like back in the 20s, what does a bomb detonator with dynamite look like? That's where you have Google.
It's an alarm clock attached to some wires.
But what's funny is, and I think the truth is, you go, oh, here's an imaginary idea I have no idea if it works or not. I don't know the 1920s that well, to be honest, but here I am writing a scene in the 1920s. That's okay. You know why? Because we have Google.
Google is your friend.
You do not need to go and spend 6 months researching the 1920s.
Yeah.
You can Google it.
Yep.
And what's great is then you get department heads who all will do that research for you and make sure that it looks perfect.
This clock is actually from the 1920s. This is what clocks looked like back then.
All you have to say is a 1920s clock. Now, if it's important to the moment, like a fuse, for example, I genuinely don't know what a fuse to a bomb in the 1920s would look like. And when we write this scene, if I'm the one that ends up with this scene, I might go onto Google and go, what does it actually look like? And do we get into the detail of she pulls out one of the fuses from the dynamite? Or do we just say she disables the bomb? Which you could say, and the reader is going to know what that
means. Absolutely right. Yeah, completely. Yeah.
I can say
grabs the ring and disconnects the detonator or fuse, whatever you want. Yeah.
As she turns around,
who's there? Old Zod.
Yes, Zod is there.
What you doing? What you doing, Charlize?
He's been suspecting.
Yeah. For some
that
time.
She's been off.
Yeah.
And now he has proof.
Yes.
She's going to rot. Literally, she's going to rot in hell.
Yes. And fight. And fun moments of smashing through. And it's here we're going to realize that these people are not merely people.
Yes, these are not just people. But here's the question. Okay, so I want to make 2 things clear. One, while we write fight here, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, trust me when I tell you that when we go into scripting, which will be the next stage of this process, that word fight will probably be 2 pages long.
Yeah.
But secondly,
it'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll just keep saying fight, 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 fight. Continued fight, 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 fight. But the question that I have is, how much do we give away? Do we just show them as supernatural humans?
I think we just show them as supernatural. We can see that there is something other about them in the fact that they don't get knocked unconscious when they fly into a wall.
When they go into monster mode, like fighting, for example, there is no physical transformation that happens when they.
And again, I think we keep it. I think we keep our budgetary concerns on this now the other version though is, she fucking I had part of a vision which was she throws him into the fucking boiler, into a gas line, and scalding hot fucking water hits him, and when he comes up, he's partially transformed. But
that's total Constantine ripoff.
Okay.
Exactly what happens in Constantine with holy water.
There you go.
Exactly.
Great.
So
let's not do that.
But that doesn't mean that they can't, I've seen, like, for example, the way that the vampires would transform in something like a Buffy or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
sure. Yeah.
Like, do we want them to have some sort of a transformation? I'm leaning towards no.
I'm leaning towards no.
But I want some kind of visual. I want some kind of visual cue that goes, there's a specificity about this that isn't just
two superheroes fighting out of the bottom of a basement.
Yeah, or even just two people and they just happen to be really fucking strong. Like, what is the visual cue that makes me go, oh, there's a darkness here? Like, the demons are different. There's something specific about them, And, we go with the whole, I've seen the glowing eyes thing a million times, but the thing about the glowing eyes, which is nice, is that I get it. If their eyes glowed red when they went into fight mode, I go, oh shit.
Or even just for a moment, even just for a moment.
It just feels so cliche.
No, I hear it. I do.
Is there something else? Is there something about their shadows? Or, as we've talked about in the past, the reflective surface of a mirror. Like, is there a shot, for example, and maybe this is giving away too much, so I apologize because I know you want to hold the reveal. But, like, if we're in a boiler room and all of a sudden a pipe breaks and then there's water, do we get a reflection in the water and we see a demonic form in the reflection?
You see, here's the thing. When they beat the shit out of each other and they survive, and then we cut to 100 years later, I want to know why. I'm still watching because I want to know why. I feel like there is then this mystery that we're leaving for the audience to uncover.
Sure.
A bit more.
Probably for what, like 5 minutes more?
Probably for at least another 5 more minutes.
Because, I mean, we're going to get to her being a demon. We're going to have to know she's a demon pretty soon, right?
We are, because I think we're going to get to know she's a demon. I think when she goes to Hanks, I think that's going to be...
No, because you're forgetting the conversation we had. She's going to go to Sam first.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And she's going to have to be given the mission or figure out, we're going to have something. She's not given a mission by an angel anymore.
No, she's not, yeah.
But she's going to have the moment with the demon in town, and she's going to grab him and go,
if that's still something that we're doing, I don't we can speak, there's been lots of conversations since that moment. So that is definitely a version we can do.
I mean, that's not one that we've cut yet. It was that's how we just discovered that the demons were being more reckless and coming up to Earth. She grabbed one before she kills it. And she's like, and the guy's like,
I don't know that I need that scene if I've had this scene. But anyway.
Well, but this scene doesn't give us anything about the prophecy.
What I'm saying.
This only shows what demons did in the 20s and why she's no longer with them. It doesn't give us anything about our current plot. It will.
And we will need to have her, because she is going to be, quote unquote, on her own, someone to talk this through with.
I got to be honest, personally, I'm okay with knowing that they're demons in this opening scene, because that's the concept of the movie that I'm going into. this woman is our hero, and guess what? She's a fucking demon.
So then can we keep it as minimal as possible?
Oh yeah.
We're not going to see them completely, but we might just, you know, in the reflection of the water on the ground, you'll see that they don't look like their human form. And you won't fully make it out, but you'll be like, oh shit, what the hell is that?
Water pipe breaks.
Yeah.
And in the reflection, and it's dark in here, you know, in the dark reflection.
Yeah.
We get just a glimpse of their demonic form. When you're saying demonic, but we've been spelling demon with an A the whole time, do you go daemonic as well?
You do, but that's okay. Whatever.
Yeah. You know, one of those foo-foo things. I like it. I'm kidding.
So ultimately, what's the outcome of this fight? Obviously, she's going to.
Zod's going to probably injure her in some way, but she's going to manage to get the better of him. She runs up the stairs. The other two demons are there. She's going to fucking push her way through them, basically. She's going to get out and disappear out into the city.
Yes.
And they're not going to be able to find her. They're all going to be looking.
So she gets the so point being, she gets the better of him. Leaves him either unconscious or trapped beneath a pile of rubble.
Yeah, sure. Leaves him for dead or some kind. I mean, it's not really for dead because we don't really know how demons die yet. But, you know, kind of. And then we're going to go, obviously, like, into your lobby, probably. And then she's going to, like, force her, you know, she's going to show up out of the stairwell. They're going to go, where's Zod? And she's just going to go, bam, like, punch one of them out and make for the door, you know?
And run out. And we're not,
lobby, you know.
And is there something like, is like the fight, like, she disappears into a fucking crowd of people. They come out, they're looking for her, they cannot see her. And then 100 years later, the status quo is still the same. She's not found by them.
Say that again for me. 100 years later, the state. What are we seeing? What is that visually? What are you saying?
The visual is she disappears into a crowd of people out.
Correct.
In the streets of Chicago.
Yes, and then we cut to 100 years later, but not in the streets of Chicago anymore.
No. Yeah.
No.
Just now the status quo is still the same. She's disappeared and she's not been found by them. And where is she now? She's wherever she is.
Right. So, Charlize.
Pushes through.
Runs out of the stairwell. Demon friends. Say, where is Zod? She, you know, it's basically she like catches them off. You know, she punches the guy out. With a, it's what is it called when you take someone off guard? It's like it's
sucker punch.
Sucker punch, sucker punch. She's a sucker punch. You know, pushes the girl into a glass cabinet or
whatever it is, it's
whatever, and makes her way outside, and then
exterior Chicago street day disappears into a crowd of faceless people. You know, whatever it is. You know,
it's actually, what's the name of the tower that we said? It's
the Tribune Tower.
Tribune Tower. So exterior Tribune Tower. Continuous here. Charlize runs into a crowd of pedestrians.
Now we had a conversation with a writer friend of ours a little while ago who used continuous in a way that we'd not experienced before.
Yes.
So I just wanted to address that very briefly. We read a script by someone whose script we'd like enormously, and there was moments where they would use the word continuous for a scene that took place 10, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, you know, time-wise, movie time-wise, after the previous scene. And we asked them,
or in a completely different location.
In completely different locations. And they said, oh, well, you know, it feels like it's a continuing of that. So, for example, if it was like, oh, holy crap, I've forgotten my keys. Jake At Starbucks, Jake leaves his home, cut to interior Starbucks day. That's not continuous.
Correct.
It's a separate location, and nor does it continue the movement or the flow of the scene.
However,
oh shit, I forgot my keys. I left them at Starbucks.
And you're already in the Starbucks parking lot.
Yes, if I was in the Starbucks parking lot, Jake gets out of his car, walks back into the Starbucks. That's continuous.
That's continuous. Yes. The scene is continuing.
A scene is continuing. Exactly right.
Yes.
But in reality, if it was, oh no, Jake in his office, I forgot my keys at Starbucks. You would just do complete new scene, location, interior Starbucks day, whatever.
And let's just be clear again, because I always want to just caveat this with, there's no real rules. We decided, and other writers as well have decided, that is what makes the most sense. Yes. I have seen people who use, and I know writers who use the slugs, and they say same time.
Yes.
We don't do that. At one point in our career, actually, we did use things like same time.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. It doesn't like crazy bother me, and yet I also don't think it's needed.
Yeah.
So it starts to add an additional thing that I don't think is.
Oh, have I lost you?
Simultaneous.
So I lost you for a second. Can you just repeat what you said?
Yeah, you froze on me as well. Hopefully we didn't freeze for our viewers. So, simultaneous is another one. That can be useful.
Yeah.
Potentially.
But
there are different people that use things like moments later and later for different things. I just put in a moments later above. Now, the reason I put this moments later in is because I'm with Charlize, and then I'm with Charlize. We're also in the same general location and continuing the same scene, only moments later. It wouldn't make sense if I was cutting to the janitor to say moments later.
Sure. Yes. It's not the same action. You'd be following another character. Yeah.
And these things, there's different reasons for slugs. And look, you go on Screenwriter Twitter and there'll be a bazillion arguments over slugs. So I don't want to belabor the slug line argument. But there's two primary reasons for slug lines. One, to help the reader read a good story that feels like it flows like a movie.
Yes.
And then two, to help the filmmakers with planning out that movie.
So in this set thus far, we need a boiler room, we need a stairwell, and we need a lobby. We've got to make that.
Correct. And part of it, when you say day or night, has to do with the lighting. So you're helping the cinematography, the grips, the gaffers, whomever, the lighting department. You're helping everyone figure out, how are we going to set this scene. If you say continuous, to me, you're continuing the same scene, which means, now in this particular case, you're going from a lobby outside. You're going from an inside setup to an outside setup, but the time of day hasn't changed. So whatever light is coming into the tower at that moment in the interior lobby is going to be the same kind of light that's going to be outside. Nothing massive has changed at that moment. So you have to continue that look and feel. But from a reader perspective, it also brings us quickly through, and I'm reading it, and it's like I'm with Charlize running outside, continuously going into the crowd of pedestrians.
Yeah, totally. So it feels like there's movement.
Yes. And I think slugs, again, it's like this huge screenwriter debate. It's almost strange to me. Just have them make sense, for crying out loud.
Yeah, and ultimately that's it, isn't it? It's just have it be. And it was interesting because I every time I read continuous in that person's script, I was suddenly very confused.
Confused, because you're like, wait a minute, this isn't continuing off the last scene.
Completely.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
So just think about it Like, honestly, common sense.
Yeah.
And then, but if you get to production, you need to change things to day, night, whatever.
Yeah, totally.
Great.
Absolutely.
If it reads well and it makes sense, that's all that fucking matters.
Indeed. So, okay. So at this point, then it's going to be
cut to.
Yeah. So
where are we
100 years later, or however long we are, 100 years later.
There's a couple of options here, and I've been thinking about this, right? We talked last week about setting up Hank separately, not necessarily when Charlize meets him, but as his own character in his own place, in his own time, with his own problems and his own, and being a demon hunter or a former demon hunter, and kind of understanding that in Act 1.
Yeah.
There's a version whereby we cut from her in the 1920s and we cut to 2023 and we're with him.
Yeah, there is. I think
or with Sam, because we had to set up her ordinary world as well. We have 3 main setups in this movie. We have to set up what's called the ordinary world for our 3 protagonists before shit kicks off, right?
Yeah.
It's like when you cut away to Sarah Connor and she's waiting tables, you know? Like, the other plot is still happening in the background, but we're not worried about that right now. Right now, we're looking at Sarah and what Sarah's doing, you know?
Yes, but we know why we're with her. You know, we're not just cutting into a waitress's life, because we have had that they're looking for people called Sarah Connor. So I understand when I meet Sarah Connor in the first Terminator that, oh shit, she's a Sarah Connor, and she must be the Sarah Connor who they're after. So it becomes...
Yes, in that case, that works really well, but I don't think that's required. When you cut to Kyle Reese, you don't know who he is. You just know he's another dude who just landed in our time. And you know...
Completely. But you started off with the Terminator, and he's arrived, and then someone else has arrived. And you go, oh, this person is like that. You know, they're also here, and what are they doing?
Yeah, it's tied to the
it's plot related. When you're with Kyle Reese, you're like, here is someone who is, again, it's like, do you know that they've traveled through time? No, but you know something weird has happened because he's just arrived in a weird fucking electricity storm, and then he's here and he's naked.
Sure.
Like, there's something untoward going on, and I'm like intrigued by it. You know, and ultimately that's the thing, is I think if you're going to introduce a character, which is totally fine, I think you have to ask a question or be intrigued by something with. So, for example, if we were to cut to Charlize now, I'd be going, oh, what? She's still alive. She's still here. She hasn't aged a day. What's going on with her? You know, if I were to then go, she then finds a demon in her town. Why are you here? We found her, the Antichrist. The Antichrist is here. Cut to Sam. I instinctively know, oh, you're part of this story now. And you're probably the Antichrist, or you're linked somehow with that story. Whereas if I meet her here, unless there's something like I need to have something that makes me go, oh, I really know why I'm here with her, you know? And maybe, again, this is the bad version.
Well, let me ask you a question real quick.
Yes.
I hear what you're saying, and I think it's great storytelling, and I think that it absolutely works that way. But I don't know that it's always 100% necessary. And I could be using a bad example, but I don't think I am. When we first... I'm using Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
When you first meet Luke, there's no setup for Luke.
No, there's not. But I know Luke is a part of this story because when I meet him, he's buying the droids that have just seen escape out of a fucking starship.
Okay.
So I know that this guy is going to get embroiled.
We're really following the droids at that moment.
That's exactly right. You're with the droids, Luke, and out he comes, and I go, oh, this young man is going to be with these droids that have got something. In fact, I know what they've got. They've got the plans to the Death Star.
No. Yes, we know.
You know,
the Death Star.
So I'm pulled into the story by him. So that's yes, there is no setup, but it doesn't.
When you meet Neo in the Matrix, what sets that up?
So you have seen in the opening moment, you've had a whole thing with I'm just trying to remember. You've had that opening moment, and you know that there is a world, or like they're watching him. Wait, is this line secure? And then we go to him, and when we meet him, he is asleep at his computer, and we're seeing on his screen stuff. He's running a search. Then on the screen it goes, knock knock, Neo. Follow the white rabbit. Yeah. I've seen this thing happen, and then I'm with something. It's like I don't just meet him at work, and he's just doing his office job, and he goes home for the evening. There was a mystery presented, and I go, what is Neo to do in this? And there is something there that I want to. He's following the white rabbit, and then there's a woman with the white rabbit there.
Well, yes, in that scene, you set that up, but you don't set it up prior to that.
No, you don't. No, but it is in this.
It's not like Trinity goes, I found Neo. And then you cut to Neo.
Totally. And if you are going to, if we are going to introduce Sam, I need to have something in this. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying you need to have something in the scene. If we're going to start with her now, that makes me go, oh, you're part of this story somehow because blank. You're part of this story somehow because your name's Sarah Connor. I know people are hunting for Sarah Connor. Now, like I said, if we went to Charlotte, I still think that the better cut is we go to Charlize. You know, I think that's the better version. We jump to Charlize.
I'm right. I'm trying to work out in my mind how we meet Hank. I'm not actually.
Yeah.
This deep in the.
We've got a bad internet connection. You're cutting in and out on me. I don't know if it's going to be on the stream or not, but I can't actually hear what you're saying. Yep, I seem to. Yeah, yeah. I think we are experiencing testicle difficulties. This is the joy of streaming live, doing the show live. Yeah.
It does say connection is unstable. Can you?
You're cutting in and out. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, and now I've lost him. So I'll just do me for a second. So as you can see, you know, this is when you get into the creative back and forth. And it's through this creative back and forth and the disagreement. Again, it's not like violent disagreement. It's like, oh, you know, I think it should be this. I think it should be that. And I've talked about this a little bit in some of the previous episodes. When you have those disagreements, you go, oh, I think it should be this. You are forced to look at why you think your idea is better. And then through the talking through of why you think your particular idea is better and why you think your idea is the way forward, you come to greater and better ideas. So that is what we are doing right now. And as you can see, but we still don't have Ben, unfortunately. It does look like we have lost him temporarily. Anyway, I think basically this means that that my idea wins because he's not even here. So there you go. So maybe we will wrap up our show today. We're only at 53 minutes, but he's jumping back on. He's jumping back on.
Can you see me? I cannot seem to figure out why my internet connection is unstable. I'm sorry for the technical.
Hey, we're all a little bit unstable sometimes, Ben, and it's okay.
It's so weird because it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
But it's
it's okay. It's working right now. It's good. I mean, I riffed for a whole minute then, and honestly, I think I did pretty well.
Good riffing. I'm trying to prioritize this device. That's what you guys
I was talking about this element that we talked about in the past, which is when you both have, you know, it makes you work through. It makes you work through the answer when you are having different creative visions or different ideas about what certain things are, and you ultimately do just find the best way through, you know, quote unquote arguing your case, or you realize that your idea isn't the best one. you know.
In this situation, I 100% am with you about cutting to Charlize. My instinct, though, is to try and introduce all three of our main characters individually before bringing them all together. And so what I don't know is how to get. I'm actually thinking like 3 steps ahead, so I apologize. But I'm thinking, how do we get to Hank?
Yes.
Because I understand the very clean way to get to Sam, but I don't know how we get to Hank.
So, right. My thought process on that is this. There is some kind of sign and or symbol that has happened, which is part of the portent that the Antichrist is coming. I've joked in the past, the donut shop gets struck by lightning, and it's on the news or it's on YouTube. We're with Hank. By the way, Jake changed the page to Thornton and Lustig after you dropped. Oh yes, there you go. Very funny. But anyway, and that something happens again. Oh, we've lost him again. Oh dear, dear, oh dear. Yes, Chris, I think I should be Thornton and Lustig. Exactly. Yes, taking over. No, we do it in alphabetical order. That's the reason why. So there you go. We lost you again momentarily, Ben.
I don't know what's going on. Today is not a good internet day.
It's weird, isn't it? Don't worry. It happens to the best of us. But what I was saying was, so we're with Charlize, scene with Charlize, something. Then we go to Sam. We go, oh, you're connected to this somehow. And maybe she leaves work and it's like, oh, we see that she works at the donut shop where the lightning has just struck, or a week ago, and they're replacing the donut on the roof. Again, these
donut shop idea.
These are bad ideas. Again, I'm just using that as the placeholder for the moment. Then we cut to, fucking Costco or the name of your grocery store back home. And we're with Hank. And we see this dude slightly overweight, graying, he's helping out a customer, whatever. And 2 kids are watching a video on their phone. You see this? It's crazy. And he hears them talking. He goes, wait, what? Yeah, it's, you see it struck the donut shop. And there's really, and there's a video of it. He grabs the phone. He's like, holy shit. And when we know he's all part of this too, we don't know why, we don't know what, but he's alerted by the fact that this thing has happened. That would be my suggestion for it. We don't know who,
I guess it's just that's going back to a slightly older concept from the most recent, which is that it's some kind of these signs, these prophetic signs have happened that have called forth the fact that that this bringer of doom is here.
Or we just don't meet him in Act 1, and maybe that's okay too.
I'm not saying yes. It could be okay. It could be okay. I think it would be better if we did meet him in Act 1, but I don't think it kills it if we don't. I'm just still trying to figure out what the natural connection is, because there's a lot to play with. I mean, ultimately, we wanted to have he as a demon hunter, and one of the questions that we've talked about is, well, why did he retire, and all of these things, and there's the fact that we've now established by that point that there are demons in this world. There might be a way to link in the idea of a demon hunter, and then cut to him, and he's a demon hunter. If it is the prophecy is upon us, which I always get like
I know prophecies are a whole.
As soon as I say the word prophecy, I want to roll my eyes and throw up a little in my mouth.
Yeah,
but
and why is that then?
It's just because it feels worn. It feels cheap. It's like, I can't figure out a good reason for this, so let's just make it a prophecy.
I think that was the best note we had about prophecies on one of our projects at one point. I can't remember what it was on, but we played around with the idea, and it's just like, there's a prophecy. And ultimately, I think that's
it feels like.
Yes. And she's
That's
like, oh,
what
okay. I know.
feels like the writers were lazy to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say, like, for example, I would never say that about The Matrix. The Matrix is a prophecy movie. I don't think that fits into the archetypal prophecy, the one story.
It does.
Right?
But what The Matrix does so well in it is that in the midpoint of the movie, just after the midpoint of the movie, when he goes to the Oracle, she says, you're not actually the one.
Right. Yes.
And then we, the audience, have the experience of, holy shit, he's not the prophesied one. And then it comes back and it's like, oh, actually he is. But he needed to go through the experience of thinking that he wasn't for a while.
Yeah.
You know, so they do play with it. Exactly right.
Yeah, they play with it in a fun and fresh way. I mean, you know, look, the truth is, if you really dissect great movies, there probably aren't that many that use the one style prophecies.
Sure.
It's just they feel the ones that have influenced popular culture so much.
So much. It's just the
so much that every time I see another one, I go, really?
Really? There is a prophecy.
Really?
There is a prophecy. Well, here's the thing. If we do introduce Hank in Act 1, I just need to know in some way why I'm watching him.
Yeah.
Is there a mystery? Is there intrigue? What's this about? Why? You know, has he got on his wall at home? And again, this doesn't work with what we're talking about, but pictures of Zod and Charlize or whatever throughout time. And then I go, oh, you're linked to this. You're going to be linked to this somehow.
So the pictures on the wall, yes. The Charlize and Zod, no. Right. The Sam, yes. So,
but then I think he's actively involved in it. I don't know.
Well, what if? I mean, look. One of the things we had said was that he potentially shows up to get her at the same time that Charlize has just shown up to get her.
Yes,
because he has a different agenda. He's there to kill her.
Yes,
that's
what that works too.
Has he also seen the rise of, like, we don't need to have been with him when this happens, but imagine that he's a fucking demon hunter. He's seen a couple demons. He also had a run-in with a demon who said the fucking Antichrist is here and you're fucked and humanity's fucked. And what we see is that he's been tracking, and we don't actually see a picture of Sam necessarily, but we see a picture of we see the map.
Okay.
And
here's
a
pitch for you.
Yeah.
Charlie's seen present day, Sam's seen present day. Then you are in Wegmans in Rochester, New York, and you're with the guy he's behind the meat counter, and he's anxious and he keeps checking his watch.
Right.
He's serving someone, and then 5 o'clock happens, and he goes and he's cleaning up, and he's in a hurry. And his manager goes past and says, so you're going to go and enjoy your vacation that you just asked for yesterday? When he's like, yeah, I'm going to go. And he go, okay, he leaves. He goes into his car and he opens up the trunk of his car filled with weapons. Goes in, gets in the car, looks over on his seat, newspaper of something. You know, we get, something's happened. I know why he's involved in this. Or picture of Sam. And I go, oh, okay, he's involved with this somehow. And he's got weapons. But I also understand who he is normally. He's the guy who works the meat counter at Wegmans or something like that.
Yeah, I like that. I think that there's it depends on how we want to go with his character. If he's truly retired and now coming out of retirement because of the events currently.
Yes.
In that pitch, it feels as though he's active. I wouldn't get this. It would feel like just Wegmans was his day job and his cut was how he paid the bills.
I agree.
Not that he's retired, left the gig, and now has come back because the Antichrist is among us.
Yes.
You know, so I wouldn't get the specificity of that.
Sure.
But I like it. I mean,
if it was he was retired, which I do like. I like the concept, and that he doesn't do this anymore. I need to see him see or learn something at some point in his scene, and then him start to act on it. Like if it were the version of it that I just pitched out earlier, whereby he sees there's something on the phone, the next scene would be him going to his manager and saying, "Yeah, my mum's sick. I'm really sorry. I need some time off like straight away." And he's like, "Well, okay." And then I see this, he cares about his day job, but also he's going to go and somehow be involved in this story that we're creating.
So I know that I was just saying that I don't like prophecies, and yet I'm just trying to think of like working with what you're saying in terms of him seeing something that would clue him. So, I think about the various biblical, stories, and like, is there something about like, not using the plagues, but using a take on the plagues, that there's actually an opposite of the plagues? Like there's the plagues that were used to actually help the Jews get out of Egypt, but then there's the anti-plagues, or something like that. They're like the signs of the devil approaching, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And it's not a prophecy of she's the one. It's a prophecy of now is the time. It's the time is approaching, or something like that. It's still a prophecy, but it's not a the one movie.
Ultimately, it comes down to the big question of how does Hank learn that this thing is happening?
Yes.
Really is the question, if we're meeting him in Act 1. So another idea I'm having is, we follow him. We're like, why are we with the fucking guy who runs the meat counter at Wegmans? He goes home and there's fucking flies in his house, and one's landed in his Bible. Right. And it's like, and it's like landed on us, or like he's chasing this fucking fly around that, and it lands right on this page of the Bible. It's open on this page, and he whacks it, and the line is, and he's like, oh, holy shit. Like, so, is there a way like that somehow some other force is trying to communicate with him some way? We'll never go into exactly what that is. I don't think it's necessary, but there is something going on that is making him go, now is the time. Something like that. That's where my mind goes with it anyway.
Yeah, I think there has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of questions that I have about Sam, and maybe that's part of the digging into this process now is, and this is funny how it's like, it's the constant going back and forth from outlining to deepening, to outlining to deepening the story. The outlining process brings out questions, and the questions turn into, okay, we got to fix this and maybe change the lore, do this.
Right.
And just the question of, well, okay, we're going to Charlize next, and then what happens to her immediately makes me go, again, it's well, how do the demons know? And why do the demons not know who it is? And how does Charlize find out who it is, but the demons don't know who it is?
Yeah.
I'm immediately starting to ask all these questions, like, great prologue, cool. Demons live among us and try and blow shit up. Great. And they live, and she's by herself, expelled demon. Okay, cool. But how are we going to get into?
It's a really good question. It's a really good question, because if the demons know where she is, why haven't they done anything about it yet?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Why aren't they guarding her? Why haven't they kidnapped her and used the hallucinogenic powers on her now?
Yeah.
What are they waiting for?
Yeah. Yeah. Which leads us back to the concept of, is there some kind of series of signs that Charlize puts together to make her go?
Why does it lead us to her, to this one specific person? There's not going to be a sign that gives us her address.
No.
And in the original concept, as we talked through it, I'm just going to put us full screen at the moment. As the original concept, as we talked through it, it was an angel came to us and said, here's the person, go and get her. And it made that very clean. Because
totally. Yeah.
But I am thinking that taking the angels out is a good move.
Yes.
Probably. So that being said, how do I locate the person who could be the bringer of the Age of Darkness?
Yeah.
And that is the question that we will probably leave today on.
Yes, I agree.
How do we?
Yeah, and we might mull that. We're coming. I think we're coming back on Thursday, aren't we?
On Thursday, I think we'll continue. Like let's think on that and think about how does, and it's for Hank, it's for Charlize, and it's for the other demons.
Yes.
How does like what is the homing beacon that is on Sam? What is the thing?
All the sign,
everything to her as a specific person, not like you could have the general location, but then once we get to the general location, it's not like they can just look around and go, "Oh, that's her." Like, what
no,
is
absolutely
it?
right.
That's her.
Completely.
That's the girl.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. And the irony is that in the final scene of the movie, we realize it actually wasn't Sam. It was someone else who worked at the donut shop. It's not a donut shop. It's not a donut shop.
And then
that's the sequel.
That's the sequel. Yeah.
Great, good stuff today, Ben. Really good.
Yeah. Sorry, I kept cutting in and out there, folks.
It's inexcusable.
Yeah, technical difficulties and all.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I kind of hate myself that I have to say that, but it is true.
Yeah. Well, you do a good job saying it. No, please subscribe to our channel. It does help with the algorithm. And continue to watch us. And if you haven't caught up on the previous episodes and you want to see how the hell we even got to Sam, go watch the Sam episode. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.